So, The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. So this is a spoiler-free review. I'll do a spoiler or a review with spoilers or a discussion, whatever, shortly after this. But for now, we'll keep it spoiler-free. My thoughts on this book. So I'll start with like what I liked, and then I'll go into what I didn't like about it. So what I liked about it, I don't think you'll find a review on this book, whether it's positive or negative, that's not going to mention the pros. The prose in this book is amazing. It's beautiful, definitely well written, and it makes for an easy read. It's easy to fly through this book because of that, in my opinion. The chapters being short, nice breaks in between events and whatnot, but also just the prose is great. So I really appreciated the world building in this book. It was very immersive. It really gave me a whimsical vibe. Especially paired with the characters in this book. It was like everything felt whimsical. That's the best word I can think to describe it. It's not like your gritty fantasy. It's not like your gothic, or super dark or anything like this. It has, violence and action and stuff in it, but it is mostly a very whimsical vibe. And I appreciated that. I liked it, which gave it humor beats as well. And going back to the characters, I did like the different characters, such a variety of characters, and some of them unique, and I definitely have my favorites for sure. I also appreciated the strong voice of the main character telling the story. I like the fact that the whole premise is an older version of the protagonist telling his story from a young age, and so and how he came to be where he's at. So that was it was just really cool, a really cool vibe. The different accents and languages you get, the different parts of the world being mentioned, the map you get to see when you first open it up. Four corners of civilization, I believe, is what the entire piece of this world is. It's all just very immersive and detailed enough to make it enjoyable. And my last thing I will say that I really liked about it, it could be a mix, but I appreciated it. I liked that, you're reading through a chapter and these moments and these events, and those feelings where you think things are going this way and you're anticipating, oh, this is going to happen, or this is what, and it does not play out that way. It goes a completely different way. Whether that's exciting or disappointing, I always appreciate that. I appreciate that you keep me on my toes and guessing, what's going to happen from that moment on. Because now it's like, well, I don't know. It seems like it's going to go this way, but apparently it might not. So I like those elements in a story, the twists and turns that you can't really predict what may happen. Going into what I didn't like about the book. The number one thing I didn't like about this book is I feel bad like saying it too. I feel like it really could make it sound bad. It's not, so I'll say it this way. The promise that you get with this book in the beginning, I think you get it a couple times. You get a promise, right? I don't feel like that promise, I don't feel like I got what it promised me. I don't believe what I received was what was promised. And it did hurt, and it did leave me with conflicted feelings about that. But what I did get wasn't bad. What I did get outside of that was not horrible at all. If I didn't like this book, if it was that bad, I wouldn't have finished it. I'll say that. And that kind of gets into the final verdict or whatever. Spoiler alert of this review. I like this book. I do think it was overall enjoyable. It did give me conflicting feelings. The pacing, so the pacing's not bad. I don't mind a slow paced story. In fact, the story I'm writing is slow paced, but it just, there's moments in it where, I had thoughts of like, okay, like we get it, like we can move on, like, and so, that was a small quibble, and there wasn't a ton of those moments either. There was not a ton, but enough to make me remember those moments. So I won't say this is true for all the characters, because I have my favorite characters. There are characters that I really enjoyed in this book, but there's characters as well that I just felt no emotional attachment to. I felt no emotional attachment to some of the characters at all. Don't know if I was supposed to or not. Some were side characters. There were moments where even the protagonist, I didn't feel an emotional attachment for the protagonist in contrast to what was happening. And I think that has to do with maybe the stakes not being high enough at times. I'm not sure. But, you know, I mean, this is all my opinion, so take everything I'm saying here with a grain of salt. Alright, so one thing I forgot to mention and stuff I like is the magic system. I like the magic system. It's clever. There was places in the book where they created a lot of... It's just the way it was built, it creates for moments of cleverness because it requires that. It requires you to be smart. It requires you to have a strong belief, a strong faith in what you're doing, and you got to know what you're doing, like down to the like specifics. You know, I'm not going to sit here and talk about it in detail, but just know that those elements play a part. Anytime I think a magic system has a solid cost to using it, and you know, it requires like in-depth thinking or something like this, it's solid. With that being said, I feel like there could have been more opportunities for the magic system to be shown in a cool light, like, and just like, you know, I felt like there were too few moments that the magic system was used in a way that I felt was cool. So I'll say it like that. I feel like it took too long for that to happen, or not too long, but they were too far and few in between. There was in fact a specific moment in the book that I felt like was a perfect opportunity, and it wasn't even like really late in the book or anything, and it was just like, you know, like that was it. You know, that's you know, again, my own opinion. The last thing I'll say that I did not like about this book is when it comes to the world building, especially early on. I mean, you may come to appreciate this later. You're thrown right to the wolves when it comes to the world building and how it starts off. There are terms that just go right over your head. There are, you know, things that are being discussed and whatnot that, like, I'm like, okay, like, I don't know if I'm supposed to know what this means, but I definitely don't. And you know what I mean? It almost made me wonder, like, well, it's kind of irrelevant because I have no idea what it means. And I try to remember, right, or make my notes or whatever. Maybe it'll come up again later. Oftentimes it didn't. So it was just, it definitely played a part in making me realize that, you know, this is a whole different world that we're in, right? And you're in the mind of the main character. So throughout this world, and it's just, you know, but it was kind of annoying in a way at first, because at first I'm like, you know, well, why even make it feel complicated, right? I felt like it felt like a needless complexity for me. So yeah, all in all, we'll go into my overall thoughts now. Overall, I've already said it, I like this book. I did enjoy it. I wanted to finish it. I wanted to see where it was going. I wanted to see how it ended. I do want to read the sequel. I never wanted to put this book down and decide, like, you know, I don't want to finish it. I do plan to read the novellas that he published in this as well. You know, funny story about me acquiring this book, I did not know that he didn't finish the third one yet, and I also didn't know that just any controversy surrounding the author, you know, in which I'm not going to go into any of that, but I didn't know when I got this book. You know, I saw King Killer Chronicles and I just thought, let's go, you know. King Killer Chronicles sounds cool as, you know. So, but it's okay, you know. I don't regret reading it. I don't regret purchasing it. I am excited to see what the sequel holds in store. So I hope you enjoyed this spoiler-free review. I hope it adds value somehow. And thank you for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day.